And we're back tonight with more international news. The head of the US government agency, which created a Cuban Twitter to undermine the government in Havana, is expected to testify next week about the project. The White House has rejected accusations it was top secret stuff, preferring to use the word discreet to describe the program.
There is no end to the ways the United States has sought to undermine the communist regime in Cuba over the years. Instead of the old-school cloak and dagger stuff, Washington apparently took a digital approach this time, reflective of the tech-savvy age we live in. The Associated Press has revealed how a US humanitarian program was used as a front to sow unrest in Cuba and loosen the grip of the Castro brothers, who have ruled the island for decades. According to AP, a social media site engineered by the US Agency for International Development was to encourage flash mobs in Cuba. Named Zunzanillo, it was apparently designed to fuel social media protest movements like the one that helped spawn the Arab Spring of 2011. The name is slang for a Cuban hummingbird's tweet, a play on Twitter on which it was based. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are divided, with some saying it was the right thing to do to bring freedom to Cuba, while others believe it was a foolish risk to take. The Obama administration claims this Cuban version of Twitter was a form of humanitarian assistance.
When you have a program like that in a non-permissive environment, i.e. a place like Cuba, you're discreet about how you implement it so that you protect the practitioners, but that does not make it covert.
But according to the AP, it was far more secretive than the White House would like people to believe. Extensive efforts were undertaken to conceal the true nature of the social media network, using offshore bank accounts, front companies and overseas servers. According to AP, text messaging technology was used to circumvent restrictions on the internet imposed by the Castro regime. At its peak, Zunzanillo had around 40,000 subscribers in Cuba before it was closed in 2012 after 2 years of service.
A Turkish court has ruled that a blanket ban of social media website YouTube violates human rights. It's ordered most of the restrictions lifted, citing a top court ruling that scrapped a similar ban on microblogging site Twitter. Last week, Turkey's government blocked access to YouTube after anonymously leaked audio recordings appeared there, purportedly of senior officials discussing a possible attack on Syria ahead of an election. Twitter was blocked 2 weeks ago after users posted links suggesting government corruption. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan has vowed to rip out the roots of Twitter for allowing the postings. The government lifted the Twitter ban yesterday. Erdogan says he had to comply with the ruling, but that he doesn't respect it.
And back locally, lawmakers have questioned the government about the lack of burial space for the dead. And officials say they plan to allow more people who are closely related but with no blood relations to be buried together. A place for the dead is just as hard to come by as a home for the living in Hong Kong. At a special Let's Go Finance Committee meeting today, officials were grilled over a lack of niche spaces.
We have a long-term strategy for the residential property for the living. But what about the long-term policy on burial grounds and columbarium? Whether it's a privately run, publicly run, there must be a long-term policy.
The Secretary for Food and Health said there are long-term plans, but there is strong resistance by residents who don't want niches in their area.
We try to understand the residents' concerns and to improve our scheme so as to win over their support. I believe some 10 years down the road, we'll be seeing substantial enhanced provision of columbaria.
Civic Party lawmaker Kenneth Chan applauded the government's initiative to allow those who were closely related to be buried in the same niche space. But what does closely related cover?
It depends on the case. The general understanding is parents, siblings, and your spouse. We will be as loose as possible in dealing with these cases. As the Secretary said, that we would like to make maximum use of existing niches. If more urns can be put in a niche, we would be happy to make it happen.
Only 2 such applications have been approved since the initiative began early this year. The health chief admitted the government needs more experience to figure out how to process some relationships, such as couples who cohabited.
There are things that are difficult to define, but I think that there'll be people who are related genetically, and in other areas they are related in other ways. And if you use the legal term of a spouse, I think it will be difficult.
As for the regulation of private columbaria, the government will submit a proposal in the second quarter of the year. The health chief says chicken prices will stabilize when the import of mainland poultry resumes in June. Prices have been going up since a 4-month ban came into effect earlier this year. Vicky Kong reports.
In about 2 months' time, the government is expected to lift a ban on live chickens imported from the mainland. But meanwhile, the ban has led to higher prices. People craving fresh chicken have to pay 40 to 50% more than usual at this wet market in Kowloon City. This man says he will buy live poultry no matter what because he has friends coming over for dinner. At a special LegCo Finance Committee meeting today, some lawmakers raised concerns about recent spikes in live poultry prices.
We know before June we are not going to see imported chickens from the mainland. So it could well be costing people $300 to $400 to buy a live chicken before June. Overall speaking, the supply level is lower than what it used to be. And on the demand side, demand has increased, and that's why it has led to price increase.
But the health chief made clear prices will become stable when the supply of mainland poultry resumes. And he added that the University of Hong Kong and Zhejiang University are looking into the development of a vaccine to fight H7N9 bird flu.
There is a chance that it will be put to use at the end of this year or early next year. But even if it's successful, the application scope will be confined to high-risk groups, say, for example, practitioners of the poultry trade and staff members in laboratories.
Meanwhile, the Center for Health Protection has reported 2 more human cases of H7N9 bird flu on the mainland in Shenzhen and Anhui province. There have been almost 400 cases across the border now. Vicky Kong, TVB News.
All right, Tony, a little bit of good news in sports today.
Yeah, a little bit. Schumi is doing better, hopefully. Fingers crossed for him. Michael Schumacher's manager says the Formula One legend is making progress in his recovery from a serious head injury. She reports that the former 7-time champion has shown moments of consciousness. More than 3 months ago, Schumacher fell and hit a rock while skiing in France. In late January, doctors began to try to wake him up from a medically induced coma. Well, there was a showcase game in the NBA as the San Antonio Spurs put their 19-game win streak on the line against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The 2 teams are favorites to meet in the Western Conference Finals. Here's James Wong.
And finally tonight, David Letterman is calling it a career. The US late-night talk show host has announced he'll retire next year. And he joked about what lies ahead of him for him and the show's band leader, Paul Schaffer.
I just want to reiterate my thanks and for the support from the network, all of the people who have worked here, all of the people in the theater, all the people on the staff, everybody at home. Thank you very much. And what this means now is that Paul and I can be married.
They would have some weird babies. That's the news.
It's a happily ever after then.
That's the news. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good evening. The weather was mainly fine and warm during the day. And as tonight's situation chart shows, a relatively dry northeast monsoon is affecting southern China. Today's temperatures range from 19.2 to 22.9 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 68 and 96%, moderate to fresh east to northeasterly winds. The current temperature is now 20 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 81%. So Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? It It will be mainly cloudy tonight, sunny periods tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 18 and 23 degrees. It will be cloudy with rain on Sunday and Monday. Tomorrow's air quality health index is forecast at low to moderate. The maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 9. And now to the latest global weather update. Sunny in Shanghai, cloudy in Taipei and Xiamen. Cloudy in Guangzhou, showers in Chengdu. Sunny in Beijing, cloudy in Seoul and Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City, bright in Manila. Thunderstorms in Kuala Lumpur, rain in Jakarta. Sunny in New Delhi, Karachi and Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo. Sunny in Brisbane, showers in Sydney and Melbourne. Cloudy in Toronto. Showers in Vancouver and San Francisco. Cloudy in London, Paris and Frankfurt. And that's the weather. Have a lovely evening.